This is J. Krishnamurti's first public discussion at Rajghat, 1976.
I believe we are going to have a discussion. I really don't like that word discussion, because it means offering opinions, pros and cons, and trying to find out who can be better, cleverness and so on. But whereas I prefer the word dialogue. Conversation between two people who are friends, good friends, who are deeply concerned about their problems, and talk it over quietly, with dignity, with great affection, and penetrate into the problem so as to solve it. Saye. It'll come, sir, it'll come. What's up? Right, sir. Shall I go on? Yes. No, you don't want me to go on in the darkness, do you? Make a rather mysterious thing of it. Voice out of darkness. Huh? So we are having a dialogue, a friendly conversation, serious but friendly, between two good friends who are deeply concerned with their own problems and problems of the world and wish to resolve them. So we are in that relationship. We are both of us amicably and in great friendship investigating together through dialogue, that is conversation, into our problems. If you agree to that, if you think that's the right way to approach this question of discussion, because the word discussion means also to break up. We won't go into all the etymological meaning of the word, but we could have a dialogue. And so, what would you like to talk over together? What you would like, not what I would like.
So where is the seat of the self you refer to often in your talks? Where does the self reside?
Where does the self reside?
When does it?
Where does the self reside?
Oh, where does the self reside? Dwell. Any other question? Any other, sir?
Relationship.
Or, sir?
Relationship.
Would you also discuss, have a dialogue about relationship?
Awareness, sir. Awareness, sir.
What's that?
Awareness. Awareness.
Awareness. Well, sir, let's put lots of questions. Let's see what comes out.
May I add two questions, please? Do animals other than human beings have any conception whatsoever of being and self, visibly other animal forms, our nature, and other awareness?
What's the question? I can't. Would you mind repeating it slowly? I can't hear.
Since you raised the question of self.
Question of?
Self. Residing from
Self.
Yeah.
Residing in animals.
residing in an animal. Any other questions?
What is this explosion from the center?
What is the?
Explosion from the center.
What is the explosion from the center?
Is there an end of all the miseries and problems after death of the body?
Does all the human problems come to an end when one dies? What's that?
Again, sir. When man is forced to see the five vital forces, how does he control and who controls?
When man is sleeping, all the five forces are working. Who controls them?
Who controls the senses when it's mind? Sleep.
Is that really your problem of daily life? Where the self lives, who controls the senses? Is that your daily problem? As that gentleman said, relationship is a problem. Human daily problem. Not where the self lives that you can speculate on and have a lot of fun with it. But we are, as we said, pleased that we are two friends talking over our problems, our intimate daily problems.
Yes, sir. What's the way to jump from thought to thoughtlessness?
What? What is?
What's the way to jump thought to thoughtlessness?
From thought to?
Thought to thoughtlessness.
No thought. From thought to no thought.
From thought
To thoughtlessness.
to thoughtlessness. Aren't we rather thoughtless now? Sir? Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a problem, not a question. I hope you'll understand my problem. This process of inquiry, it appears to me, creates a gap between me and the life around me.
What were you saying, sir?
Sir, it has appeared to me that the process of inquiry seems to create a gap between me and the life around. Now, it appears to me it is as though I am not able to partake in life. It is as though the life is quite nearby and I am standing aside. And I want to jump into it. And when I let myself go, well, I feel like throwing up something. And what comes out is nothing but cries. This is my problem.
So can we go into the limitations and usefulness of energy?
What's that?
Limitation and usefulness of energy.
Limitation and usefulness of energy. I'm afraid I haven't quite understood that gentleman's question. Sir, please, don't put me questions. Let's just talk over together. You understand? I have a problem. You're my friend. We are walking along the street or in a wood, and I talk, and I say, look, I've got a problem. I don't believe in God, I don't believe in this or that, but what is all this about? You understand? What is this? What is the meaning of this existence? You understand, sir? And why do I hate people? Why do I quarrel with people? Why do I have anxiety? Why do I have fear? You know, I want to talk it over with you. You might help me, you understand? To get over my fears, my anxieties, to think clearly.
Sir, I feel that my problem is a fear.
Fear.
Yes. Yes.
Do you want to talk over? No, just a minute. You suggested relationship. This gentleman suggested that we talk over together the question of relationship, and also what it is to be aware. And you are asking also to talk over together fear, whether it's possible to be completely free of fear. That's right, sir? Is that right, sir?
Yes, I think it's right.
What?
It's right.
What?
That's right.
That's right. Now, which shall we choose? Take these three important questions: awareness, relationship, and fear. Which is our problem, fear and relationship, right? We quarrel with each other. We are dominating each other. We are competing with each other. We are jealous of each other. And there is violence between you and so on. You follow? So, what do you want to discuss? Talk over together. Relationship, awareness, and fear. You please think about it and tell me, let's go into what?
Sir, with regards to fear, I know if I would come to a physical precipice, I would move instantly. But this concept of the danger of thoughts, I can understand that, but I'm not moving from that.
Shall we discuss that, sir? Fear.
How to remove fear?
Huh?
How to remove fear?
Not how to remove, you see. To understand the nature of fear, how fear arises, what is its effect, not how to remove fear. Not how. When you use the word how, you want a method, don't you? The how, tell me how to drive a car. Teach me how to drive a car. That means you teach me and I'll follow it. But here we are two friends. You are not telling me, I'm not telling you. But together we are trying to find out if it is possible to be free of fear. Not how to be free. You see the difference? What's that?
Whether it is possible to be fearless.
That's what we are going into. Have a little patience, sir. So, we are going to talk over together as two friends who are very concerned, seriously concerned with this question of fear. So, how would you inquire about it? What would you say if I'm your friend? What would you say to me? How would you begin? What would you say to me if I'm your friend? Go on, sir.
What is fear?
Would you say that to me? Please don't laugh. Watch your own. Be aware, the gentleman asked, be aware of what you are saying. Then how would you, if you are my friends, sir, good friends, and you say, look, I'm afraid of certain fears. I would like to be free of them. Let's talk about it. How would you begin to inquire, to ask?
I desire something and it doesn't happen, so I fear.
So, you desire something and it doesn't happen, and there is fear. Is that what you're telling your friend?
there's an element of fear. So we may ask the reason.
So, just a minute. Have you fears? Huh?
Yes.
You have fears, haven't you?
Death.
You have fears, haven't you? Why are you so silent? Huh? What's that?
We have fears.
Why don't you say, I have fears? What are you frightened about?
We have taken it for granted.
I have fear. We have fears. Now I say, what kind of fears? Is it physical fears, biological fears, or what kind of fears?
Mental fears. Fear can only be mental.
What?
Fear can only be mental, sir.
So you have mental fears.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by mental fears? Sir, you please. What's that?
We are perceiving a line, sir. Perceiving a line.
Look, I want to talk over with you. I'll talk over. You're my friend. I'm supposing I have no fears. And I mean it, I have no fears. I just come to you as a friend and I say, look, old man, I've got an awful lot of fears in my life. I'm afraid of tomorrow. I'm afraid of darkness. I'm afraid of my wife running away with somebody. I'm afraid of losing a job. I'm afraid of not making my life a success. I'm afraid of what my neighbors say. I'm afraid of so many things. What am I to do with them? I'm talking over with you. What am I to do with them? Right?
The first reaction will be to pat you on the shoulder and say that please not be worried. And then if possible, I will try to take care of you as much as possible.
All right, sir. You have patted me on the back and said, "Old boy, bear up with it, and carry on." But you're not my friend then.
That should be the first reaction.
No, sir, not first. You're not my friend. I want my fears to be resolved. You don't pat me on the back and say everything is all right. I'm in tears about it. I'm anxious to be rid of it. So don't kind of boyishly pat on my back. It becomes rather silly. So I say to you, I'm frightened. I'm frightened of losing my wife. I'm taking that example. One. And she might run away or dominate me, and so on, so on. How am I to deal with it? You understand? That's my problem. I come to you. Or I don't believe in God. But everybody else around me believes in God. And I'm frightened of those people who will believe in God, that they will take away my job. Right? You understand? So I'm frightened. I'm also frightened that of this immense thing called death. I'm also frightened of not being something. You understand? Not becoming something. So I have all these fears in me. So how will you help me to understand this and go beyond it? You understand my question? I come to you as a friend and I say, I've got this bundle of fears. Help me by talking it over together so that at least I can get rid of some of it and perhaps I'll be able to get rid of all of them. Right? So talk to me that way. Will you?
I myself have not got rid of my fears. How is it possible for me to help them?
So you are asking, I said, suppose, I said. Self is one or many. That's the answer, sir. Just a minute, just a minute.
May I make a suggestion, sir? That you proceed into the problem of fear with the quiet. And that there may be many people who are new to your way of going into things. They might listen for a little while. And maybe some of the younger people.
What are you trying to say, Pupulji? I can't understand.
Yeah, I would suggest that you go into it yourself.
Look, they're all coughing and all making noise. Please. What is it?
You proceed into it.
I proceed. All right. Sir, will you listen? Please, just let me explain what I mean by listening. I'm going to talk over with you fear. Will you listen to it completely?
Yes.
No, don't, please, just a minute, let me. Listen means not only you hear the words which are transferred through the ear to the brain, vibration and all the rest of it, but listen with your heart, with your mind to find out. Not just up here. You understand? Not just in the brain, but with your whole being. To find out if it is possible to be free of fear. With your whole being, you understand? With your mind, with your heart, with your brain, with intense, urge to find out. That's the way to listen. Not just casually think about something, pop up a question which is totally irrelevant. So, if we can, would you kindly listen first? Fear has been one of the great problems of mankind. They have never been able to solve it. They have escaped from it. When there is fear, they run away to a cinema, pick up a book, or resist it by quarreling with somebody. So they've never gone into themselves and see if it is possible to be free of fear. To be totally, not casually, not superficially, but deeply, at the very root of one's being. You understand? Deep down. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about it that way, because to me it's immensely important that the mind, which includes the physical organism, the heart, the brain, the totality of one's being, that's the mind. For me, that's the mind. The intellect, the emotions, the senses, all that is contained in the mind. And I want to end fear. I want to find out. Because I don't want to live with fear. Fear means darkness. Fear means violence. When I'm afraid, I become violent. When I am afraid, I tell lies. When I'm afraid, I become crooked, hypocrite. You understand? So I want to be completely free of fear. Not only consciously, But deep down, you understand my? Are you following this? Both biologically, that is physically, and as well as psychologically, inwardly, inside the skin as it were. I want to be completely, totally free of fear. Right? Now, I'm going to find out if it is possible. I want one thing, it may not be possible. You understand? I may want to be the Prime Minister of Russia, but I can't be. So, I want that, but it may not be possible. So, I start with the possibility that I might never be free of it. You understand? So, I have a mind that says, that examines very, very carefully. I don't want to be deceived. Right? So I must be very careful when I look at myself and find out why I'm afraid. Right, sir? You're following this? Do please. So, first, I must look at myself, mustn't I? I must look at myself and see why I'm frightened. So how do I look at myself? You understand my question? In what way do I look at myself? That's very important, isn't it? Isn't it? You are all doubtful. Isn't it very important when I am looking at myself, what is the cause of fear, whether it's possible to be rid of fear, I must discover how I look at it, right?
But if one is afraid of looking at oneself,
What's sir?
if one is afraid of looking at oneself, then the problem of solving the fear is, I think, it's more complicated.
You haven't listened, I haven't finished, sir. As I said, as Mrs. Jayakar pointed out, please you go ahead and talk about it, and which is what I'm doing. I'm going into it. Have patience so that we can communicate with each other later on. First, listen. And then you can say, look, you're totally wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. That's all right. But first, listen. So, my problem is, how am I going to discover what fear is? So I have to look at myself, haven't I? I have to expose myself, right? To myself, right? Are you following this? Now, it's very important I look at myself without any distortion, isn't it? If I am prejudiced about myself, I can't look at myself clearly. If I think I'm a divine being, I look at myself rather crookedly. Or if I say I'm purely materialistic entity, that's also another conclusion and therefore another distortion. Right? So my mind to observe what I am must have no quality of distortion. You know, sir, when you are a scientist, if you are a scientist, if you come to the microscope with a conclusion, with a previous opinion, then what you see will be discolored, right? So you must come and look at that through the microscope with a mind that has no conclusion, no opinions, no hypothesis, just looks to see what actually is. Right? Right, sir? Are you understanding each other? Or am I just talking to myself?
We understand.
Huh?
We understand.
So, to look at myself, I mustn't have any conclusions about myself. Right? that there is divinity in me, there is the higher self in me, there is the self, where is the self, where is the not. I must be able to look, right? I wonder if you see this, right? So, I am looking at myself. I can only look at myself when I am reacting, isn't it? I reveal myself, what I am, what I am not, whether I'm angry, whether I'm jealous, when I, in the area of relationship, right? In the area of relationship, I can discover what I am. So, relationship becomes tremendously important. Not only is it the basis of all society, but in investigating my fear, I discover how extraordinarily important it is, relationship. Because that is the mirror in which I see myself, right? I can't deceive myself when I get angry. That mirror shows I'm angry. I can explain it away. I can say, well, I'm angry because she said something to me, or this and that. So, relationship is a factor in understanding fear. You get the point of this? Right, sir? How am I to know whether you understand or not if you all sit quiet?
Well, I understand it through your talks, that my fear is, I feel that I can live my way, the way I like.
Can you?
If I start living my way, what will happen to my parents and...
Can you live your way?
Yes.
Huh?
Can.
You can?
Yes.
I wonder. I wonder whether any human being can do what he wants to do. What you want to do is conditioned by your past. Right, sir? What you want to do, thinking that you are free, is held in the vice of the past, in the grip of the past. The past is your heredity, the culture, the parents, 1,000 years of various kinds of incidents, accidents, rules, disappointment, all that you are. So when you say, I want to do, I will do what I want to do, you are doing exactly what your previous conditioning has said. Therefore, you are not doing what you want to do. You are doing what your background tells you to do. Sorry. So let's go into it. So I say to myself, I am frightened. I must observe my fear. How am I to observe it without any distortion? If there is any distortion, I will never be free of it. So the first thing is there must be no distortion in observation, right? And I can only observe my fears in relationship to nature, to my employer, to my boss, to my wife, to my children, to neighbors, in relationship all around me. In that relationship, I discover one of the factors of fear. I am attached to my wife. Attached. Hold on, cling to my wife. Not only because sexually, but also she gives me comfort. She encourages me. She pats me on the back when I come back and says, it's all right, darling, how are you? She also bears my children and so on, so on, so on. So I'm attached to her. Are you following all this, sirs, or thinking about something else? Oh, for God's sake, I am pouring my life out and you're looking at something else. You people. So, I'm attached to my wife. And there is the beginning of fear. You understand? Where I'm attached to a belief, to a furniture, to a house, to a person. In that attachment, there is the root of fear, the worm of fear. Right? So I say to myself, why am I attached? I don't condemn it. You understand? I don't condemn anything which I discover in relationship. I see I'm attached. I say next question is, why? Why are human beings attached? Including myself. I'm attached to my wife, to my house, to my children, to my job, to my belief, to my ideals and so on. Why? Answer it, sir. This is a dialogue. Why? Why are you attached? Huh? You're attached because you want security. Now, you go into it carefully. I am attached to my house because that gives me shelter, where I can live. And legally I can hold it. And I prevent others taking from it. That's one point, right? There is security there. Now, is there security in my attachment to my wife? Is there? You say there is security in attachment, huh?
There would be an element of pleasure also.
Of course, I said that pleasure, fear, is a mixture, rather dirty mixture. So I say to myself, why am I attached? I understand I'm attached to a house. But why am I attached to a belief? Why am I attached to my ideals? Why am I attached to a person, my wife? Why? So I say, there is security there. Right? My wife or my husband gives me security, psychologically, not biologically, physically. So I find security in my wife psychologically, and I'm attached to that. Right? Right? Huh? Are you following this, sir? Or am I? So I'm attached to my wife. Why am I attached? You say I'm attached because I want security in that person. That person may turn away any moment. Right? I know it. Inside me, I know, though I'm attached to her or him, one day gone. One day it dies or one day it turns away and I'm lost. So I discover actual fact, not intellectually idea, I discover that in attachment there is always fear. Right? Do you see that? Not up here, in your heart. When you are attached to something, a belief, an ideal, a person, there is always in that a worm of fear. Right? So I say to myself, if I am to be free of fear, how can there be freedom from attachment? You understand? You understand my question? How can there be freedom from attachment to a belief, to an idea, to ideals, to a person? Because they all bring fear. So how am I to be free of attachment? So I say, what is the root? What is the basis that makes me attached? You follow? Makes me attached to you. You understand? Look, I'll tell you something. I talk a great deal, unfortunately, all over the world, with very large audience and so on. If I am attached to the audience, you understand, to all of you, and if you don't turn up, I would be terribly disappointed. I would be hurt, right? You understand? So I use the audience to bolster myself up. So in that there is fear also. Because I want your opinion, I want your good opinion, you must be respectful to me and all that kind of blah. So I'm attached to you. So I say, why are human beings attached? Why are human beings attached to anything? Apart from houses. You follow? Attached to their knowledge, to their position, to their prestige, and all the rest. Why? So I say, am I attached to my house, to my wife? Am I attached to my ideals? Have I ideals? Why have I ideals? You understand? Who created these ideals to which I am attached? Do you understand all this? You are following all this? So, is it I am frightened to be lonely by myself? You understand? I depend on my wife to cook all the rest of it. I hope she doesn't cook for me for the rest of her life. To cook, to give me pleasure, and all the rest of it. Is it I am lonely in myself? You understand? I am empty in myself, so I fill her my emptiness. You understand all this? Because I'm insufficient in myself, because I'm lonely in myself, because I need support from another, therefore I depend on another, right? And dependence leads to fear. So is it possible for me, I hope you are following all this, is it possible for me to face that loneliness, to remain with that insufficiency? You understand? Look at it. Go into it. Don't let it run away from me, that loneliness. I'm taking that loneliness for the moment. That sense of isolation, that sense of not being related to anything. Suddenly find yourself completely lonely. And out of the fear of that loneliness, I'm attached. You understand, sir? So is it possible for me to be totally free of the fear of loneliness? You understand my question? You have known loneliness, haven't you? Huh? God.
You are asking questions, this quiet, this taking loneliness within us is almost a part of the human condition. And however much I might...
Yes, it's part of human conditioning. You are saying, of course, this is a dialogue, you can question me. Now, it's part of my conditioning, right? It's part of my conditioning. So how am I to, is it possible to be free of my conditioning? I don't accept a thing about myself, that it is permanently conditioned. It's part of my nature, therefore it is irrevocable. It cannot be changed. I say, I'm a human being. Anything that can be changed must be changed. So I look at myself and say, I'm lonely. Why am I lonely? I don't say it's human nature. It's part of my conditioning. I say, I'm lonely. Well, that's a fact. Right? That's a fact. I can't escape from it. I might run away from it. I might cover it up. I might say my wife is the most important person than me. But that loneliness remains. So that's one of the causes of fear. Right? So I said, now, what is loneliness? How does it come about? Would you say it's a form of isolation? I can't hear, sir.
I feel that it is a fear of being unable to relate oneself with the enormity of the universe.
Yes.
Lost child.
Unable to relate oneself.
Yes.
That is, the inability to relate oneself comes out of isolation.
Yes.
Right? Now, everything you do during the day, your thoughts, your activities, is bringing about isolation. You are working for yourself. Though you may have marriage, wife, children and all the job, but you are working for yourself. Right? You are self-centered. And therefore, that very self-centeredness brings about isolation.
But the self-centeredness is again a result of this feeling of inadequacy.
Now, wait a minute. Now, wait. Is that self-centeredness the result of society?
Yes.
Wait, just wait, sir. Andiamo. We are going slowly, sir. Is that the result of society? Is that the result of my education? Is it the result of the environmental influence where everybody is self-centered? Is it the result of my so-called culture? So it may be all these. Culture, heredity, education, environment, and so on. All these are factors in my life that bring about isolation, right? Which in turn breeds fear. Is this clear? Huh? Now I say to myself, is it possible to be free of all this? Huh? Huh? Oh, no, this is a fact, sir. You are the result of your climate, the result of your food you eat, the result of your government, the result of your economy, the result of your heredity, the result of your religion, the result of your wife, father, parents, all that. You are the result of all that. And they all have been working from a center called the me, which eventually brings about isolation. And when there is that isolation, there is fear. So I ask, is it possible to be free of all that? Not to be influenced by environment, right, sir? Not to be influenced by what my parents, grandparents, and the tradition and all the rest of it. Not to be influenced by church, by temples, by priests. You don't ask that question, do you? I'm asking that question. Because I see the tremendous importance of being free of fear. If you saw the absolute essential necessity of being fear, you would say, now, is it possible to be free of all this? Not up here, not verbally, with your heart, with your blood, with your guts, you would ask this. But you don't. Because fundamentally, you don't want to be free of fear. So I say to myself, I'm talking as a friend to you and exposing myself to you. I want to be free of all this. It's absolutely essential to be free from all influence. Family, church, temple, race, politics, politicians, the Gita, the Upanishad, everything. Because they all breed fear. Right? You don't believe that, you agree. Huh? Yeah. That is, yes sir, I know all this. Fortunately, I don't read newspapers. Yes, so there is fear. We are dealing with... Yes sir, yes sir, we are dealing with fear. And a man who is serious, who is concerned with humanity, who has love in his heart, he says, as long as there is fear, there is no love. So he says, these are the factors that bring about isolation. Culture, education, environment, politics, and all the rest of it. Is it possible to be free of them all? You understand my question? Free of my guru, free of my belief. You follow? The whole works. Otherwise, I live everlastingly in fear. Now I say to myself, now comes the problem. You understand? I see around me everything trying to influence me and so condition and awaken fear. So I'm asking, is it possible to get out of this trap? You understand? Out of this human trap which humanity has created which we all have created for each other. Right? So, who has created these things? You understand, sir? Who has created the culture? Culture being the tradition, the whole work. Who has created it? Man. My great-great-great-grandfathers and yours. Past generations. Which is me. Right? I, representing humanity, the past, have created this culture, this politics, this religion, right? The environment that crushes me. I have created it, not somebody else over there in Moscow or in Delhi or in London or in New York. I have created it. Do you realize that? That's your problem, sir. You have to act when you find that you are responsible for that.
Sir, we observe that once in 1,000 years or so, there comes a great man who escapes from this trap. Maybe a Christ, maybe a Buddha, maybe Krishnamurti. They come and they go. And they are not able to help other people to escape from this trap. So that the mass of humanity still continues in this trap with their jealousies, their desires, and
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Seeing this, I begin to question whether there is such a great point in escaping from this trap. Because I would still be doing good only to myself. The rest of humanity is going to go that way.
You are part of that humanity, sir.
It's so frightfully important to get out of this trap.
To
see the inevitability of the entire mass moving in spite of it.
My dear Krishnan, would you kindly, when you separate yourself from the mass, aren't you the mass too? So why do you separate yourself from the mass? Because the... Huh?
I state of fearlessness. So we have to use words. So
Yes, sir, we are using words.
So even if an individual were to go into this very seriously, take life very seriously and question and ask and do all this, at the end of it, he liberates himself. And so
At the end of it, what, sir?
he liberates himself from this trap. One man out of, I don't know, 1,000 million liberates himself out of this trap, and so what? Is my question.
So if one man breaks through the trap, what effect has it on the other human beings? Are you asking that question?
Yes.
Huh? What effect? You escape from the trap. You have broken the trap. What effect has it on my consciousness? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Now, am I not having an effect on your consciousness?
I hope so.
That is not good enough answer. No, sir. Please, sir, do pay little. Look, we are human beings. You're caught in the trap. Like a rat caught in it. And if you see the importance of being totally free from fear, then you do something. You don't say, well, what does it matter if I affect the world, the masses or not? You have got this immediate problem in your lap, and you do act. You're not concerned about somebody else. Right, sir? You are in a trap, and that trap is very painful. At that moment of great pain, you don't say, is it going to affect mankind? You break that trap. So, forgive me if I got...
How to break it, sir?
Huh?
How to break it?
I've carefully explained, sir. I've been carefully going through this. Where there is attachment, there is fear. Right? So, are you attached to anything? What are you attached to? Your wife, husband, to your children, to your job, to your this and that. So as long as there is attachment, there must be fear. If you are attached to your guru, there is fear. If you are attached to your religion, there is fear. If you are a Muslim, Hindu, Jew, whatever it is, there is fear in that. So, fear is, as we said, you are attached because you are isolated. You feel totally isolated. And out of that isolation, you are attached. And therefore, I say that isolation is the everyday activity of your life. Right? Because you are self-centered. Call it by a different name, selfish. So you are self-centered. Is that self-centeredness created by society? We ask this. By religion, by education, by ordinary technological. All these are factors that create that self-centered activity. Right? This is fairly obvious. Now,
aren't these the very factors that allow the possibility of escaping from the self-centered?
Is there a possibility of escaping?
Without education, without religion, without culture, without society, without the Gita, without Buddhism, is there any possibility for us to be here?
There is no such escape, because you are already conditioned. You're already, if you are a Christian, you may be disown Christianity. You say that's all nonsense. But your other factors are there which condition your brain, your mind, your heart. So please, let me finish this. So, is it possible? Please do listen. It's for your sake. Do please listen. Is it possible to be free of all these cultural, educational, environmental, political, religious, all that influence, which bring about self-centeredness, from which arises isolation, out of that isolation attachment, and attachment fear. You follow the chain of it? So, is it possible? If you say it is not, then you are already caught in the trap. You are already there and you remain there. You say it's not possible. But if you say it may be possible, I'll find out. You understand that there are two different activities. One that says, well, I can't do anything about it.
In that chain, one important link with your social condition. And one can break that, but itself perhaps it is a release.
What's that?
I said in that chain, this cycle that we create, one extremely important link is the social condition.
What is that? Social conditioning.
Social condition.
I said,
that you have to be successful, that you have to be this, you have to
I've said that. I've said that.
break that alone. Perhaps that itself breaks the whole.
I'm not sure. There was many people who have broken it.
I don't say that I know.
Some you may not know. Many people have broken their social conditioning. That hasn't solved them from being self-centered, from being attached. So, please, is it possible to break through all this? Now, wait a minute. Who asked this question? You understand? Is the man in trap asking this question because he feels the pain of it? You understand? He feels the sorrow of it. He feels the dreadfulness of it. The filth of the human beings have made of human each other beings. Are you asking the question in the trap? Or imagine yourself outside the trap and asking the question, which is theoretical, right? You are in the trap. Now, wait a minute. Are you aware of the trap? Are you aware of the trap? Now, wait a minute. Don't. Let me. Are you aware of this nature of the trap? Awareness means that you are aware without any choice. And you see, moment it becomes difficult, you wash your hands off. I'm going to, sir. Give me a chance. Look, sir. We have talked for an hour. We have just talked for an hour. Please listen to me for 2 minutes. Are you aware of the trap? Or you like certain parts of the trap? You understand? One part may be more decorative, more pleasing, more delightful. And then you said, please, I like to keep that and throw away all the rest. But listen to it, please listen to it. What are you doing? Holding on to one of the pillars of the trap and say, for God's sake, leave me with that, take away the rest. Is that what you're doing? So that the pillar you are holding of the trap maintains the whole trap. Right? So, your pleasure in a particular pillar or that thing that holds the trap, you are attached to, and you won't let go, and therefore you go on with your fear. So a man who is very serious, who is deeply concerned not only with his own fears, but with the human fears. Sir, you don't know what you people... One wants to cry. So I was taken to a hospital once by a psychologist, psychoanalyst in America, where very few are allowed. He was a doctor there, and he took me. And you saw people from the war without arms, without legs, without eyes. Right? You saw people, just the body. You see? And we are responsible for it. Don't fool yourself. So to a man who is very serious, who is concerned not only with his own particular little fears, but the fears of mankind. Because you are the mankind, you are the human, you are the history of man. In you is the history of man. So, if you are holding on to one part of the pillar and say, take away the rest, then you are encouraging and strengthening the trap, right? That's obvious. So you have to understand then what is pleasure. You understand? Because you are holding on to something that gives you pleasure. Are you following this, sir? I can't see you.
Yes, go on, sir.
Huh?
Yes, we are holding to one part which is pleasure, and we go on repeating it.
So, what is the relationship between pleasure and fear?
Of losing the pleasure.
What's that?
Of losing the pleasure. You don't want to lose the pleasure.
I am asking you, sir. Most of us...
Can we not go beyond separation with the help of a group or religion?
What are you saying, sir?
Can we not go beyond separation with the help of a group or religion?
What? What?
And can we not go beyond with the help of a guru or religion?
Can we not go beyond fear with the help of a guru? Is that it? Is that it?
Yes, sir. Beyond separation. We are talking about fear at the moment.
How do you know your guru is not equally frightened? Why do you, sir, why do you laugh? So, sir, if you hold on to one particular part of the trap because that's pleasurable, so you have to inquire into what is pleasure. You understand? You can't hold on to pleasure and say, please help me to get rid of fear. So pleasure may be related to fear. So you have to go, you have to investigate into the whole nature of pleasure. You understand how complicated our human existence has become? We are caught in a trap and we don't know it. And if we do know some of it, we hold on to that which is pleasurable and still hope to be free of fear. So I say, are you aware for yourself? Are you aware of the whole nature of the trap? Are you aware of it? Don't choose, I like this trap better than that trap, or this part of the trap, or that part, but you are aware of the whole nature of the trap without any choice. You understand, sir? Without any choice to look at your trap.
Please do not remove the light.
What, sir?
I am asking why not to remove the light.
What, sir?
No, sir. It's just because light is coming and going again, and asking.
So, are you aware of the trap and not choose one part of the trap saying, I'll hold on. Just be aware without any choice of looking at the trap. Can you do it? Huh?
Not all the time. One is aware, but not all the time.
Not all the time. Now, what do you mean by all the time? Now, just a minute, sir. Don't laugh. Find out, for God's sake. You say you are aware part of the time and not all the time. Are you not aware of a particular danger of a precipice all the time? You don't say, I'm partly aware occasionally of the danger of a precipice. The precipice is always there. You can't say, one day I'm aware of it, the next day jump over it. Which means you are not aware at all of the danger of the trap. So, we are asking, talking over as two friends, is it possible for us to be free of this hedge round us, this enormous, complex, interwoven trap, which we have created, not our, you understand, which we are creating all the time. You understand? We are creating it all the time. You stop creating it all the time if you break the whole thing. That means you're free, the mind is free of the culture in which you have been brought up. Understand? All this superstition, tradition, all the weight of your past history, your Puranas, Vedas, and the whole junk. And it means also that your mind cannot be influenced by another, which is the most difficult thing. You are being influenced by the speaker now. Unfortunately, you are not looking, observing in yourself. You are being influenced. And when the influence is taken away, you are back in the trap. So, please, sirs, if there is the necessity and the urgency and the importance of being really completely free inwardly of fear, you have to face this trap.
Sir, when I face the trap, I become utterly miserable.
When you face the trap, The gentleman says, I become utterly miserable. Why? Because you hope that trap will give you pleasure, some release. That trap won't give you release because you have made it. It's part of you. You see, that's the difficulty. You put the trap out there and you are here. You are the trap. So you don't see the importance of this. You are the trap. That means you have to break down your own conditioning, yourself, the center of the me, which is the main spring of the trap. And it can be done. It can be done without a single breath of effort. But the man who makes the effort to be free of the trap is creating further the trap. Right? Therefore, it must be broken. It breaks naturally without a single effort if you are aware of yourself as being the trap. Since you are the whole history of mankind, you are the embodiment of that trap. You can't escape from yourself. Right, sir? You can't run away to cinemas and gods and temples and all that nonsense. You have to see what you are. That is, you have to have self-knowledge, know about yourself, not the higher self. There is no higher self. You have to know yourself. Not through analysis, but through watching, looking, observing.
Since we are all in the trap, is it not possible to improve the conditions in the trap?
What, sir?
Since we are all in the trap, is it not possible to improve the conditions in the trap?
Lovely. That's what they're doing in the communist world. They all say we are in a trap, in the prison. Let's put more toilets, more baths, more this and that in the prison. And we love that. Oh, sir?
I have a reflection on these statements, if you allow me.
I can't. If you
would kindly allow, I may interject here a little bit.
Sir, I'm paying attention. I can't quite hear, sir. So this is a dialogue, sir.
No, sir. You want to interject some reflections.
Go ahead. Please go ahead, sir. I'm not preventing. This is a dialogue.
Listening to so many questions from so many varied people, I think they represent a bit of a cross-section of the society in this country. And whatever I have gathered from my own observations of Indians by and large, that they are extremely foolish people.
Right. What?
My say and then they are all free to laugh at it. I'm of the Indian philosophy. And I know the way of putting this question, they're extremely foolish act. And because they're basically foolish people. You might be scientists in the process, I know people are. And I know you think that you're as good as that Einstein or somebody else, but you speak like a foolish chap over here. That's what you are.
What is he saying, sir? What? Sir? Sir, may I interrupt? May I interrupt? May I interrupt now? We'll have to stop. May I interrupt? Because we have to stop. Only after this, an hour and 20 minutes dialogue between us as friends, are you at the end of it aware of the trap? And that being aware of the trap, which is yourself, you're the trap. Not out there somewhere, it's in you, the trap. You have built it. And can you observe that trap without any choice? Can you observe it without any distortion? Distortion takes place when there is a motive. Right, sir? When you say, I must be free of that trap, it becomes a motive. Therefore, you're already distorted. So your observation becomes distorted. So can you observe the trap without... Can you observe the trap without any motive, without any choice? Just observe it as you observe a lovely sunset. Then the trap will tell you all its history. You understand, sir? Now you are telling the trap what it should do. You understand what I'm saying? But if you observe it quietly, without any motive, without any distortion, it will tell you the whole history of itself and dissolve. In telling, it dissolves itself. You understand? Do it, sir. You will see it. Right, sir?